Hey guys, so we're back again with another reading, and this one is your October predictions. So we're going to get some channeled messages for the month of October, see what you guys have to expect, see what messages your guides want to give you about this upcoming month. And today we have a beautiful selection of crystals for you guys to choose from. I am going to throw the numbers up on the screen of each of the crystals. If it's your first pick a card reading, you want to go towards the one your energy is feeling called to and drawn to. Don't overthink it or get in your head about it. Just go with your first instinct, and that will be the pile with the message for you. I also want to mention to you that I do have my Patreon up with a ton of additional readings. We have about 35 over there right now. I haven't counted, but we should be around that. And they're over all different kinds of subjects: love, money, career, family, dreams, spirituality. Everything is over there, over about 35 topics. So there's a lot to choose from. So head to the link in my description and in the comments underneath the timestamps if you want to check that out and join our Patreon party. And if you guys have any reading requests over there, you can also post them on my Patreon or message me over there, and I'll definitely consider doing them. So I also want to quickly mention that I am still a little bit sick. If I sound sick during these readings, I do apologize. I am getting better day by day, but it's stuck around for longer than I thought, and I keep hoping I'm going to be fully cured, but I can hear it back listening to the audio, so I apologize if my voice sounds bad, but I just really wanted to post, and I hate not being able to post for you guys. I know you guys miss when I can't post, or some of you guys do, so I really wanted to get the video up, and I apologize if my voice is just sounding totally off. And if you guys want a private one-on-one reading with me, I am doing those, although I might sound sick while I'm doing it, but I promise I'm still able to channel and everything. So if you guys want one of those, you can head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, to get a one-on-one session with me. You can get it hour long or half hour long, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. So if you have a specific question you want to ask me, a specific, timeline you're asking about, or something very specific you want me to pull cards for, we can do that. Or we can also channel open messages, mediumship, talk to your ancestors, guides, angels, everyone on the other side, and get channeled guidance for you and keep it open-ended. So however you would like to do it is how we can do the reading. And if you want that, like I said, go to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and get a private session with me. So also, by the way, just another footnote, but my nails are short, again, with me being sick and a lot of the just logistical stuff I've been dealing with lately. I haven't had time really to get my nails done. So anyway, sorry if you guys are, loving the different nails and you have to stare at my boring nails today. But anyway, okay, that's it. That's all the messages I had to tell you guys up front so we can get into the reading. If you guys need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need. But we are going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey, pile one. So for your oracle card, you guys got Goddess of the Moon, and for your other cards, you got Come Together, Deep Freeze Reversed, and Details, Details. So there is a channel message coming through that a lot of you guys have kind of stepped out on a limb recently, taken some kind of risk, and this would have been something you felt intuitively called to do, and it might have even seemed a little risky, crazy. You might have thought, like, what am I doing? Or other people might have said that to you, what am I doing? This is something that maybe it definitely seemed, like I said, like a risk to you, but there is a message that it is going to be paying off for you. But maybe the month of October is kind of like a pause, chill month, I honestly think. I think this is a month for you guys to be focused on like other things in your life. And I see whatever this is on the side kind of gestating and growing and developing. And it's interesting, we got the Deep Freeze card, but it's reversed, because the Deep Freeze card is a card all about kind of pausing and taking that break and things being kind of frozen. So just like as I mentioned before, I've lived in many different places, and it's funny because the places with the harshest winters have the most amazing springs and summers, and it's the places that have the really balmy, easy winters that nothing really grows and gets to be that green or that big. You need to have the winter and the freezing temperatures to make everything grow and be as abundant as it possibly can be. So don't mistake when you're in a season of a winter, and I want to clarify this because I don't feel like you guys are going to be having really hard things happening to you. Or when I say you're in a winter, don't make it don't think that this month is going to be like some awful month for you. I'm not seeing that. But I'm seeing that maybe some of you guys are like, okay, this should have happened by this point, or I should be at this point by now, or when is this? Wait, this was supposed to go better than it's been going. And there's a message for you to kind of chill and relax. Just like, if you're a farmer and you do live in one of those places where there's a lot of winter, you don't start going outside during winter and start like going over all the the crops you planted and start wondering when they're going to grow and digging them up and replanting them, because that would mess up the process. The process is winter is a part of it. There needs to be that little period of kind of a hibernation happening so that everything can grow to its best, highest potential. And I am seeing that you guys are doing a lot of growth right now during the month of October. But it's almost like this is like a freebie month. I honestly think you guys should enjoy it, because I actually think you guys are going to have a lot more opportunities this month to kind of chill and relax. I don't feel like you guys are having to go. If you have been feeling like you've been having to go 100 miles an hour, I feel like that is going to pause. You're going to get a little break, and there's an opportunity this month for you guys to really look towards the things that bring you joy and happiness. So specifically romance, love, friendship, having fun with others, taking the time out. Like, I really think some of you guys should take the time out of your day to go for a walk and, go grab, I don't know, an ice cream at your local corner store or something, or go, pause to read a book in the middle of the day. There's this energy of like you kind of figuring out what stirs your soul, figuring out what brings you a lot of happiness and joy and fulfillment. And I actually feel like you're doing kind of research this month, like, tabulating things in your mind. It may not feel that way, but I think that's actually, a lot of times the process of figuring out what we want for ourselves is kind of unconscious. Sometimes we want to know and get some really strong message about our destiny, but sometimes it's just about, wow, that makes me feel really good, or that makes me feel really bad, that makes me feel really fulfilled, that doesn't. It's a quiet nudge. Our intuition usually comes in the form of kind of a quiet sense of knowing, a quiet sense of fulfillment, a quiet sense of bliss. And so what really feels good to us, and I'm not talking about hedonistically feeling good in the moment of like, wow, these Doritos taste really good as I devour my third bag of it and watch a bunch of TV, because that's not really going to feel good to us long term. But most of the time when something's really good for us, it feels good. Like, it really feels good. We don't feel a sense of guilt underlying it or shame. It doesn't cause you stress or worry or anxiety. There's not this level of kind of lurking negative feelings underneath it that you're trying to push away. It just feels purely good. And I feel like this month is about things feeling good to you. So I do feel like there's an emphasis on you getting to spend time with friends, possibly date, but I feel like a lot of you guys are just doing something very fresh and bold. So you might be meeting new people. You might be meeting someone new romantically. I feel like a lot of you guys are staring down. I'm seeing a blank sheet of paper. I'm seeing like a very fresh, unused journal, and it's like you get to write your story in it. It's wide open for you. And so I feel like you should really pay attention this month. This is about kind of pausing and perusing over, okay, I like this. I feel good with this. I don't feel good with that. So a lot of you guys are going to be kind of doing intake this month as far as what goals you really want to set and getting very specific about it, getting a lot of intel and knowledge about, okay, I want to head in this direction. I want to head in that direction. And so I feel like there's a message to you that if this doesn't feel like a productive month to you, if right now you feel like, okay, but like that's kind of stagnant, I want this to move forward. I want to hear the message that this month is going to be the red letter month and I'm going to have all my dreams come true. I get it. But I feel like you need to know that the progress is happening. It just might not be visible this month. Just like, as I was saying, I don't know what goes on in winter. I'm not like an herbalist or a naturalist, But I do know, having lived in so many different places, that there's something about winter, there's something about those months when everything is frozen over and nothing really seems like it's happening and the ground even seems kind of dead, that leads to the spring of green everywhere. And there's something about those winters in places where you're like, oh, this is really nice. It's, oh, sweet. All I have to do is wear a light sweater and yeah, it's pretty much the same. Okay, cool. That summer's just kind of brown and just kind of sunny and the same thing, you know, and there's nothing really that special. There's no extra bloom. There's no extra trees that suddenly become extra green. There's no beautiful fall. So there's something about that period of winter, of the freeze, that allows things to grow bigger, stronger, better. And I feel like that's happening for you this month. Again, not that this month is going to be a negative month and you're going to have a lot of bad things happening, more that you have a lot of time to kind of chill and to kind of relax and to kind of do the things you want. And for some of you guys, I feel like you're like, okay, but I want this. There's like an impatience here. There's like, if it's not moving ahead, it's not moving ahead. There's kind of a Capricornian energy of just like, okay, but it needs to happen now. Like, let's get the show on the road. But I feel like this pause is really important to get your head right, because one of the best things to do is to get your kind of car situated going in the right direction, rather than just taking off for the sake of like, we got to leave now. I know for me, I have been on trips and like made the wrong turn or missed my exit. And it's amazing how much time that can add to the trip. Just the other day, I was walking somewhere and I accidentally missed my turn with the walking directions. And I was like, well, whatever, no big deal. But it ended up like that was like this little shortcut that I was supposed to take, this short diagonal street. So I ended up having to do this square around, and it must have added like, I don't know, 10 minutes to the trip, which I guess doesn't sound like much, but it was a short walk. So the thing is like, it's so much better to really get your directions right, to know where you're headed, and then you'll get there faster, even though it may not seem that way. If I had just maybe paused at that corner and re-looked at the map and been like, okay, so I go that way, then it would have actually saved time. Even if it had taken me 30 seconds, a minute to figure it out, that would have saved me the 10 minutes. So there's so much value in finding out what we really love, what we really want. And I feel like this month, you guys are going to have a window of opportunity open where you can really spend time doing things you love. So like hobbies, interests, spending time with friends, enjoying. I feel like this month, it's kind of like a pause. I'm seeing like slumber or someone sleeping, which I think is what this little animal is doing in the deep freeze picture. So let's get some of the other oracle cards though, because they are interesting. We got rest, renew, recharge, Midas touch. Things are working out in your favor. And when peace is your priority, negativity cannot exist. And it's so funny, as I started this reading, it just got really kind of dark, and I think it might be raining again. It was raining, and maybe it's going to rain again. And rain to me is always that energy of, again, peace and recharge. And it's speaking of weather again, it's something where when you live in areas where there's a lot of rain, again, you need the rain for the greenery, right? And so all these things we associate with like, oh God, it's a rainy day, it's the middle of winter, I have to be stuck inside. But it's those things that lead to the amazing day outside when everything's beautiful and there's flowers everywhere and there's greenery and it smells amazing and it's the perfect temperature. You only get that in those places that have the rain, the snow, the winter. So, you know, when that's happening to you, if you can reframe it in your mind to be like, sweet, so this is winter and it's preparing me for spring, then that's such a great way to look at it, because there is a message that you guys are going to have a lot of success with whatever this is that you have been working on. We did get Midas touch. Things are working out in your favor. So again, I don't want you to mistake this message for me saying like, so nothing's working out for you and this month is a wash and it's going to be a really hard month, because that's not what I see at all. I just feel like you guys are kind of wanting things to speed up, and there is a pause happening. There is an emphasis on you resting this time, kind of chilling, kind of recharging your batteries, because I do feel like a lot of you guys have been really burnt out anyway lately. I don't know what this is, but whatever you've been working on, it feels like it's been requiring a lot of your energy. You might not even be aware of how much you're depleted energetically speaking, and how much you do need a break. Sometimes it's those days when we feel like we're fine, but our friends are like, you should probably take a nap. And then we realize, like, oh yeah, I've been completely exhausted only after we get that full night of sleep. So I feel like by the end of this October, you guys are going to be like, oh my gosh, I am so glad I had this month to chill. I'm so ready to go into November with extra energy. But this month, I feel you're kind of retreating into yourself, doing a lot of downloads. You're very psychic this month, and you're getting a lot of guidance and clarity from spirit about what truly brings you happiness and truly brings you fulfillment. And so don't think that this is a waste of your time or not productive. It totally is. And so I really want you guys to be very granular this month and pay a lot of attention to the things that are bringing you joy and happiness, to the things that make you feel good, how you feel after different situations. So this month, it's all about kind of taking your temperature and seeing what really makes your soul feel amazing and what makes you feel not so amazing, and just using all of that as data, because I feel like you're going to be being exposed to a lot of new opportunities this month and a lot of new activities, just a lot of newness coming in. And I want you to be open to it and allowing it to unfold at the right pace. So not rushing it, but like if maybe a new group of friends invites you to hang out, saying yes. Or if you have the opportunity to travel somewhere new, doing that. Or if there's like a new book or something, I feel like Spirit is going to be bringing you things this month that can truly point you to the best things for you, your highest destiny, your highest purpose. And I feel like you really need to pay attention and kind of be in the space of rest, because it is in a restful place where we're able to hear Spirit. It is in the pause and in the quiet that is when Spirit really is able to talk to us. It's when we're rushing around, we're super busy, we're obsessed with like a certain timeline, we think it needs to happen immediately, that we aren't able to hear Spirit as much. So for you guys, I think like if this is a month where you have a lot of downtime, I could see you guys having a lot of downtime this month. I could see you having, days off, or having vacation time, or just getting to sleep and take it easy a little, or having one of those random weeks at work where like the schedule isn't that difficult. But whatever is going on, I feel like it's really important that you kind of utilize that. This honestly feels like a kind of dreamy, almost weird month. Like I feel like the time between seasons often feels kind of dreamlike, you know what I mean? Um, like it hasn't quite settled into the new energy. And so for you guys, I know it's October, so we're kind of in the middle of fall, but I do feel like there's something kind of weirdly dreamlike, surrealistic about this month for you. You're living a lot of it in your imagination and kind of Neptune vibes. And Neptune is where we have dreams, delusions. It's also where we get downloads. So whenever Neptune is happening, sometimes it can feel stagnant, because Neptune is not an energy that's all about action. It's not Mars. It's not like super exciting and boom, this is happening. And Neptune's kind of a lot more chill and relaxed. So sometimes when someone's trying to manifest something and they're in a Neptunian energy, they're like, oh my God, this is a waste of time. But Neptune is also genius. It's also incredible downloads that put you light years ahead that may not seem that way. There's also a huge number of Pisces is one of the wealthiest signs. Neptune rules Pisces, even though people would probably never guess that, because Pisces are not like those stereotypical super obsessed with money or hard work kind of signs. They're kind of the person that would probably show up late to class and forget their homework and be like, what does it matter? But it is one of the wealthiest signs, because we get those amazing downloads in Neptune and in Pisces that can put us light years ahead. So for you guys, if this seems like a chill energy, if you're like, this isn't what I wanted to hear, I want to hear that this is going to go through on this date and this is going to happen, then I need you to just kind of flow with it. Be like the fish. That's why Pisces is the fish and just goes with the flow. Go with the flow of this energy. Allow Spirit to take you down these mystical, crazy destinations. If you get the urge to explore somewhere new and randomly your friend like tags you in an Instagram post and is like, do you want to take a weekend trip here? And you're kind of like not sure, but you know, it feels good to you intuitively, then try it. And maybe it's not the most productive way you could spend your weekend, but maybe you're going to get amazing divine downloads when you go to like that pumpkin patch for the weekend. That's 2 hours out in the country, but you get some incredible knowledge during that trip, and you get this intuitive feeling of like, I love this, or there's some dreams that kind of come into your mind, or if you get called to read a certain book or listen to a new thing of music or just chill and meditate. I feel like this is a beautiful, dreamy month for you. So enjoy it. Don't rush through it. I can look back at the times in my life that I felt extra Neptunian and kind of like flung out of space is a word for it, you know, kind of not even rooted in full reality. I don't know if that's just a Pisces thing when you have months that remind you of that, but where you just kind of feel dreamy that whole month. And those almost always preceded big blessings, big changes, especially blessings. So I feel like this is a precursor month that's going to be chill. It's going to be relaxed. I'm not seeing some huge event happening, but I am seeing you guys get the time to chill a little bit more. So let me get the oracle cards. So we got Wheel of Fortune, 9 of Swords, 7 of Wands, Temperance, and the 7 of Pentacles. So these cards to me are confirmation that you guys have been stressing out about certain timelines, that you have been nervous about what's going to happen next. Oh my God, is this happening? Okay. What is this not happening? I thought this was going to happen, but now it's not. There's a message that luck is really on your side, that we got the Wheel of Fortune upright. So that is a message of luck and blessings and abundance. We also got the 7 of Pentacles. So I feel like there's a message that all the seeds you've planted, they are in the process of growing. Like I said, you need that winter period to grow those seeds to their fullest power and potential. So don't mistake this as like, okay, so your manifestation's not going to happen. What you wanted isn't going to really take place. But I think it's also really important to get a handle on what we're planting, what we're doing. Like if you did plant, no matter what, as much as I love to talk about the greenery and stuff, I don't know anything about plants, but I do know if you try to like plant a cactus in the middle of Wisconsin, it's probably not going to work, even though you can grow a million things in Wisconsin, and Wisconsin is incredibly verdant. I've never been, but I've seen photos and it looks beautiful and very green. You can't grow a cactus there, you know, and you can't grow like an oak tree in the middle of the Mojave Desert. So that's why it's really important when we're trying to manifest something to really get in touch with spirit about what will truly bring us happiness. Because whatever could bring that person happiness and that person happiness and him happiness isn't what brings us happiness necessarily. And what makes us happy isn't what makes someone else happy. So that's the thing, is when you're on your own path, you're going to be kind of alone on that. And there's going to be people that don't really know what you're doing. And that's why it should feel a little intuitive. It should feel a little crazy. And I feel like you guys have made that choice recently where you've been doing something that feels a little crazy, or there's people around you doubting it. And maybe that has rubbed off on you where now you're like, yeah, maybe I am crazy. And what was I thinking? But I feel like you really are on the right path. And even though maybe there's also some competition around you, maybe there's people around you that it feels like you are having to somehow keep up with them. They're on a certain level and you're trying to hustle to reach that. But there's a message that you should be marching to the beat of your own drum. Their timeline, their life story, whatever, is not yours, and that's okay. It's not supposed to be yours. If it was the same as theirs, then you'd be like, that's like a ripoff, right? Like you're not allowed to come out with a book and publish it and have it be the exact same as someone else's book, or you'll get sued, because it's not original. People don't respect lack of originality. So how you know something is truly fresh and new is usually when you get those kind of looks and people being like, what is this person up to? Wait, I don't understand. They're not supposed to understand because it's your book that you're writing. So yeah, I think you guys are on this amazing path, and there's just a message to keep trusting this month and to be okay with it, and to really not stress out about this, because you're headed in exactly the right direction. Let me spin the astro dice and see if we get some astrology messages for pile 1. Okay. Oh my gosh, we got the 11th house, and that's Uranus. And I was just going to say, I'm getting a Uranian Aquarian energy because that's all about sticking out from the crowd. Then we got Venus and we got Scorpio. So with Venus, and I feel like I was saying, this is a chill month. This is a relaxed month. This is a month of kind of taking things easy a little bit and not feeling like you have to go a million miles an hour and you have to push yourself super hard. With the 11th house, there's that message of, again, it's okay to be different. And then with Scorpio, I feel like Scorpio, again, is a super psychic sign, is a very deep, intense sign, and you guys are getting a lot of these downloads. So we have Venus and Scorpio in the 11th house. Venus and Scorpio can be very possessive, very knows what it wants, very kind of doesn't want anything it doesn't want. Like Scorpio is not that energy that will be like, well, it's kind of half what I want, and well, I'll pretend this is okay. Scorpio is like all in, all out, especially in Venus. Most Scorpio Venus people are very like kind of intense about their partner, but a lot of times they're not even interested in anyone else. They either want that or they don't want anything, they want it all or they don't want anything at all. So for you guys, I feel like some of you need to really get into that energy of maybe being very specific about what you like, being very specific about what you want, and not being willing to compromise. Maybe some of you guys were compromising for a while, pretending certain things that didn't make you happy, like, well, that's okay because of this, and well, it's not that, but okay. And this is about, no. Take a step back. What really makes you happy? And this month, I think you're going to be getting those downloads even more. But I do feel like in October, there's just a message that things are going to be relaxed and chill. And that's good. That's not a bad thing. It's actually okay. It's actually how it should be. So don't fight this energy. Don't be trying to rush through the timeline. Know that this is a very special, sacred period for you where you're really going to be connected to your intuition. You're really going to be getting downloads, and please enjoy this timeline. Like I know it's hard to be pregnant. I don't want to insult anyone or whatever, but I have a friend who's pregnant, and she's always like, "Oh, it's so horrible. I hate being pregnant." And I'm like, if it were me, I know I would love being pregnant just because it's like you get to completely chill, and I would be using every excuse in the book to just chill. But I know sometimes people have complications. I don't mean to make light of that, but I just feel like sometimes you've got to embrace, but she's like, I can't really do anything. I can't really go. I'm like, yeah, but that's the good part of it. Like, you don't have to go anywhere. And so it's like, of course, again, I'm not trying to be dismissive to any pregnant women who are going through it, but I just feel like sometimes, yeah, you're supposed to be kind of stuck when you're pregnant. You're supposed to be kind of laid up at home, chilling on the bed. That's what you're supposed to do because you're in that gestation period. And I feel like that's what you guys are too, kind of. Like right now, you're supposed to be relaxed. You're supposed to be chill. You're supposed to be laying with your feet up, just like a pregnant lady eating bonbons, which is what I was telling her she should do. I'm like, girl, I don't care. I would never be going to the gym. I would never be even stressing about a single thing. And I know, of course, real life happens, so it's hard when you're actually pregnant and you have responsibilities. I'm just joking. But I feel like there's a message here to not be afraid if you have the opportunity to kind of kick up your feet this month and take it easy on yourself. You really should do that because I think you're going to come out of this period a lot more rested, and this rest, they're telling me, has been a long time coming. So please don't waste it. So anyway, I really hope that resonated. Pile one, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with another reading. Make sure to like, subscribe, let me know in the comments how it resonated because I love hearing from you guys. And check out my Patreon if you want access to all my additional readings. There's about 35 over there, so go ahead to the link underneath the timestamps in my description and in my comments if you want to see all of those. And if you guys want a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that on my website, briarrosetarot.com, and get a one-on-one session with me for your specific situation, whatever it may be. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back very soon for another reading. So take care. Bye. Hey pile two, so for your oracle card, you guys got happy family, and for your other cards, you got slow and steady, rescue, and dragon's lair. So for a lot of you guys, this month is about building a foundation. This month is about you guys starting on something, and the fact that sometimes when we build something really well, it takes a little bit of time. So I am seeing that you guys are kind of in that process right now, and there's a lot of enthusiasm. It's almost like some of you guys have the raw unbridled enthusiasm, but you don't know where to go with it. You don't know how to go about it, or you might have even felt called to do a project, but you're kind of afraid of the judgment of others. You're kind of afraid of what people are going to say with it. And I feel like there's a bunch of messages, kind of complex messages coming through for you guys. Some of them have to do with acknowledging the fact that sometimes our family, our friends aren't going to get the same messages we do or understand what we're doing. Sometimes it can be really hard to step away from what they think and what they feel about the situation and just trust our own intuition and our own intuitive guidance. But that's where we get the best messages, and that's how spirit talks to us. So it's really important to get into that habit of really checking in with yourself, not necessarily thinking about what are my parents going to say or what are my friends going to think about it, or what does my boyfriend think or my sister think. Even though that's important, at the end of the day, we're the only ones that can hear our own calling. So if you have had something being put on your heart lately where you felt really called to step into a certain activity, I feel like you should know that that feeling is not going to go away anytime soon. You're going to continue to feel called to it throughout the next month. And so you shouldn't just ignore it. You should definitely pay attention to that, but it's also okay to take your time with it. If you feel like, oh my God, I got to do this right away, there's also a message that it is okay to take your time with whatever this is, and that things are going to work out for you on the right timeline. So don't stress too much about that. Just know that whatever you're trying to build, whatever you're trying to grow, is going to be something that has a lot of potential for growth and has a lot of potential for success. But in this upcoming month, it might not be ready at the stage to be fully launched yet. There might be something where you're needing to go over kind of the logistics of it, needing to plan a lot, and that's okay. I actually think, that was kind of an energy for pile one too. So if you felt drawn to that, you could also watch that. But maybe we're going through a collective pause right now, or maybe some people are. And often that happens during eclipse season, where it's kind of like you're reassessing, you're going over everything, you're kind of pausing to contemplate and to see what kind of falls out of your life, falls into your life, seeing what those changes are. And so a lot of times when that happens, we do feel the call to something new. That's when we get the download we've been waiting for, the feeling of, okay, this is it. I'm finally getting that intuition that's finally here. But it can feel to us kind of like a non-event, because a lot of times it comes through as like a mental download or a spiritual intuition. And because we live in this natural world and we have these kind of human perceptions of things, we're waiting for like a direct big event. We're waiting for that final moment where like we go off to the Olympics. But in a way, that moment of training or that moment of intuition of like, you should pick up the skis, is maybe more impactful than when we finally go to the Olympics for skiing or whatever your sport may be. You know what I mean? So as much as it may seem like you want something really big to happen this month, and maybe this is a little bit of a month of waiting and building and getting that foundation right, I feel like that's a really exciting period for you. Also, for in numerology, does talk about building a foundation. So for a lot of you guys, this is about building a sturdy foundation. And of course, I'm sure we've all seen those shows where they build a house for someone in like 7 days, and it's like a beautiful moment. It's so exciting to see. But it's funny because they did a lot of research afterwards, where they would do follow-ups with those people. And some of those houses, they weren't structurally sound and they didn't last for a very long time. They'd kind of fall apart, because it really does take time to build a house that will last for like ages. And it's funny because a lot of old houses, like old houses in Europe, maybe they're 1,000 years old, but they're still standing. Or maybe they're 600, 500 years old and they're still standing. We have modern day houses that are supposedly super grand and nice, but they end up, having issues and the walls kind of falling apart because they're made of plaster, and so a lot of those old stone houses, they're going to last for a much longer time, but they take a lot longer to build. So don't be like feeling like the situation has to rush itself or that you need to be making things happen right away, because I feel like there's a message about patience from spirit, but also to go ahead with this, and kind of get your head screwed on straight about exactly how you might want to approach this. Rescue card can talk about needing to ask others for help or needing to be open to getting help. So there might even be a family member or a friend that you could ask for help with a certain thing you've been struggling with, and that might be an issue that comes up for you in this upcoming month, is you having to approach someone and ask them for help with something, or ask for their opinion with something. And of course, you want to stay in touch with your own intuition, your own insight and downloads. But it's okay if you need to ask, or if you want a little assistance from someone. That's a good thing. So let's get into some of the tarot. And I do apologize if I sound really sick. Fortunately, this thing has lasted a little longer than I thought, but I hope my voice isn't too bad. So we got, actually, that came out of order. I know the exact order this was in. Page of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, Page of Swords, Ace of Wands, and then the Hermit. So it's really interesting. This is why I noticed this order, because we got Page of Pentacles, Page of Swords, and then the Knight of Pentacles. So the page cards are a little bit younger and a lot more kind of enthusiastic. Kids don't tend to think of like, the logistics of how something is going to happen. They just want a certain thing, and they'll just ask for a certain thing. And they don't necessarily take the time out to like go over all the details and work everything out and make sure everything's perfect. So I feel like there's a call here that spirit is loving this enthusiasm you have for whatever this is, and to go ahead with it this month, but also to understand that it's okay to deal with the logistics. It's okay if things take a little bit more time. And sometimes when those logistics are delayed, like when we're like, okay, I'm going to do this, but this has to happen first, maybe that pauses for a reason. Maybe there's something we're working on perfecting, working on refining in some way. And so it's okay if that process takes a little bit longer than we think. We don't have to rush in. There's a saying, fools rush in, but wise men, I don't know what the rest, but I'm guessing wise men take a little bit longer. So it's like, there's no need for us to just feel like it has to happen immediately. There's no need for us to feel like if it doesn't happen right this moment, that it's not going to happen. There's a call here from spirit for you to understand that moving into that night energy, which is a little bit older and a little bit more of a planner, is, I think, a wise choice for you guys. And it's interesting, we got Pentacles and then we got the Swords, because again, Pentacles are all about building that solid foundation and even being really disciplined, like even getting into a process of waking up, making your bed, or getting into some kind of routine, taking care of all those details, being grounded. Earth energy is all about being grounded. So that might be a theme for you in this upcoming month. And I feel like that's a really good thing. Sometimes we want to get to that exciting part of a situation. We want to get to that kind of glamorous stage where it's like party time, celebration time, but we got to go through all the pentacle energy to get to that 10 of Pentacles abundant situation. So for a lot of us, we have to figure out how to be like neat and organized, or we have to figure out how to be on time, or we have to figure out how to stick to a schedule, whatever the case may be for you. So maybe some of you guys are Virgos and Capricorns, and you're already really good at being organized and having that earth energy. But for others, maybe, there's situations that you're in that could be improved. Maybe like your morning routine could be streamlined and you could become a little bit more neat and tidy in your space, whatever the case is. But I feel like you guys are doing a lot of that kind of initial planning during this month, and even getting mental downloads with that Page of Swords. So really thinking about how exactly you want to go about this, how exactly you want to do this. And I feel like spirit is going to be giving you divine downloads on how to make this happen. So think of this month as kind of that planning energy, that's getting into the energy of being ready for it. It is going to be a success, but I am seeing maybe it might happen in like 3 weeks, for weeks. It might not happen this month even. It might happen in a little while. I feel like some of you guys, you're just kind of gearing up your nerve, like you're gearing up your own personal energy. Some of you guys, you do feel really called to take a certain step, but then you keep doubting it, you kind of keep second guessing it. And we also got the Hermit. So maybe some of these doubts have to do with other people in your life, like family or friends who might not understand it or who might not fully get it. And so there's a message here of like, it's okay to step out on your own, and it's okay if you're the only person who hears that calling. I mean, it's called a calling for a reason, right? Just like we get that call on the phone that only we can hear. Like our friends aren't going to get the same text, the same calls that we do. We're the only one who can hear that voice on the other side. And that goes for spirit as well. So if this seems a little bit risky, maybe it's okay for you to kind of give lots of love to whoever this is in your life, but also understand that maybe part of your destiny involves kind of going it alone a little bit and being feeling like the odd one out in that moment, because I do feel like these people will come around once you have the success. Then they will totally get what you were doing, but maybe at first they don't get it, they don't understand it, and that's okay. So that's why it's really important, I think, to sometimes go into hermit mode. Of course, not isolating ourselves from the world completely, but sometimes when we get really enmeshed in like the noise of others, other people's thoughts, other people's opinions, what they have to say about the situation, then I think it can really take us away from our own intuitive voice inside. And that's when it's really great to make a process of meditating or just to spend time alone doing the things we love, so we can make sure that that voice, that intuition, that calling we're hearing is really for us specifically. Because sometimes we can feel called towards things, but it's really because our parents always told us that was a prestigious profession, or because all our friends think this person is really cool, so I'm going to do that, or because society says that this kind of a person is a success, and it's not really what we're hearing from our core. And so we can't really hear when there's all that noise going around. So for some of you guys, I feel like there's a message that whatever this project or thing that you're wanting to manifest is, that it is going to be successful, but you need to really make sure that you have all the details aligned, and also that you're not letting any fears about the judgment of others hold you back. Because again, this has such potential for success. We did get the Ace of Wands, which is a really positive, successful card. That means that this is going to be really potent and has a lot of energy in it. But we want to make sure that we're not rushing into it. We're not coming in with an energy of like, let me just do it, I don't care. And that we have the strength to kind of stand on our own, because anytime we're doing something new, we are going to get pushback and kind of people who don't get it, people who don't understand what we're trying to do. I want to shuffle some of these cards from Bow Life, Vanessa Sumaina's deck. They are so beautiful. So let me get some cards of these for the month of October, Spirit for pile 2. So we got goal setting. Oh, that's perfect for you guys. That is definitely something I can see this month. That kind of sums the reading up into 2 words. So yes. Okay, this one says decluttering. So I could definitely see this even being about physically organizing your space for some of you guys. Physically, it's always a great idea to do like a spring cleaning and a fall cleaning too. Even a winter and a summer cleaning, really, if you want to. I mean, of course, it's important to keep our space clean at all times, but especially when we can kind of get down and make sure we like mop all the floors and, scrub at the sideboards or whatever, clean out the fridge, we can be amazed by how much kind of stagnant energy can stay in a certain space and how much better it feels when we remove that. So you might be literally decluttering, or you might just be mentally goal setting and using this month as a very productive time of planning. Because yeah, I feel like there's a lot of foundational work happening this month. Let's get some more cards. I love this deck. For pile 2, Spirit, can you give us some more clarity? So we got sacrifices and gentleness and confessions. So I feel like with the confessions card, you know, even for some of you guys, this might be about confessing to others or to yourself, even what you want. Because sometimes when we're very caught up in a social kind of the whirl of social dynamics, I know for me, as an empath and as someone who is very psychic and very open, emotionally speaking, especially as mutable signs, we can tend to fully drink in the energy of everyone else and not even know what we feel about a certain situation. I know when I get around certain people, like certain friends or family or whatever, you can even find yourself acting out of character. You know, like maybe you usually never drink, but around certain friends, you're like, oh, sure, I'll have some. And you're like dancing on the table by the end of the night, you know? And sometimes that can be fun and it's good for us in a way to like let loose and to enjoy life. But sometimes maybe this person thinks like, you know, this kind of fashion is lame, but we really like that fashion. Or maybe it's just a certain way they have of acting and going through the world. And the next thing we know, we're kind of taking that energy into ourselves. And it's hard for us to know, I really like this. I really like that. I want this. So for some of you guys, this might just be about getting a little time and space to yourself so you can be really clear about what you want. And you can be really open and honest, because sometimes it could even not be that they're still around your energy field all the time, but that things they've told you have kind of stayed stuck in your head. You know, I mentioned before that I think my mom made some offhanded comment when I was young about purple being day class A and tacky, and I literally didn't buy anything that was purple for like so long. And I remember I was buying this blouse like maybe a year ago, and I was like going back and forth because I'm like, yeah, but it's purple. And then I realized, wait a minute, why do I not like purple? And it was so funny to kind of do that unpacking. And then I was like, oh my gosh, all from that stupid comment. Because I do remember that comment and I would kind of laugh about it. Like I think it's funny when my mom says stuff like that, you know? But I realize now it's like, who cares about, like, I mean, not that I love purple. I don't really feel either way about it, but I loved that blouse. So I bought that blouse. And it's funny because I bet my mom, I didn't bring it up to her. She probably doesn't even remember saying that. I doubt she would remember or care. I doubt she was probably just like offhandedly talking, you know, but it made such an impression on me. And all of us can kind of take on those things in our life that someone said to us once, or this person thinks that, or especially with our parents, because it's a lot of times it's those comments that happen when you're like young, you know. And again, your parent probably didn't even know, they probably were just like making a joke or saying something silly or not really thinking through all the consequences, but all their ideas of the world, of how the world works, of what's good, what's bad, can stay with us and really seep down into our bones. And that's why it's really important to establish our own identity and to kind of clear out what they might have put on us and think about what we want for our life. So for a lot of you guys, this is about being willing to be honest with yourself about, this is what I want for me. This is the kind of life I want. This is the kind of destiny I want, and really planning all of that out. But then I think there's also like sometimes when it's like, okay, so I'm going to buckle down, I'm going to do this. Like sometimes even if we go into like cleaning mode, maybe we feel the need to like spring clean. And I know I have done this where I've made such a big deal of something in my mind that I end up procrastinating it because it like makes me really nervous about it. And I'm like, I don't want to mess this up. So then something that I was intending to like fire up my enthusiasm by being like, okay, I'm going to do this. Heck yeah. But instead I start getting like nervous. I start getting in my head about it. I start being like, I don't know if I can do this. Oh my gosh. No, well, I'm just gonna, and then you find yourself procrastinating, distracted, whatever. So sometimes it's better to take like a gentle vibe. Like they literally say, as a cure for procrastination, commit to doing something for 5 minutes and then kind of chill out and then let yourself relax, or do it for 15 minutes, set a timer, stick to it and be like, okay, I did it for 15, not anymore. And if you feel like continuing, you can, but kind of going easy on yourself. So some of you guys, you might have a goal in mind, something that you're getting after, but then there's also this sense of like, you giving yourself a lot of nerves around it. You really freaking yourself out about it. And again, there's a message. It's okay to be gentle. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to be slow and steady. So let's get some of these oracle messages. The universe rewards emotion. What guided action can you take today? Forgiveness will set you free. What do you need to forgive yourself for? And great awakening, walk in your truth, stand firm in your light. How can you trust yourself more? So with this forgiveness card, maybe some of you guys will be spending time with family. If you've not been close to your family, or maybe you've been estranged or something, maybe this is a month of patching that up. I could also see someone just working through kind of family ancestral trauma in this month, like dealing with, everyone has, parents who have certain, like everyone's parents are not perfect. So there's always something you can kind of fix, improve about yourself, unpack. And of course, not from a negative perspective of like, I'm so mad at my parents, although maybe sometimes in some situations that's totally justified, but just like, okay, how am I going to fix myself? How am I going to make myself the best version of myself and return to whatever soul I was when I first incarnated in this lifetime? Because a lot of parents are trying to do their best, but they might have their own traumas, their own issues that they project onto their kids. So for a lot of us, it's just about like, let me clear this slate and make everything kind of back to how it was, taking away any negativity, any negative expectations or impressions I might have, accidentally gotten from my parents. Of course, they were probably definitely not trying to do anything messy or to give you a negative mindset about anything, but sometimes that just happens, because we are human. So maybe it's about forgiving, just collectively kind of doing healing work, collectively moving through that and kind of purifying yourself to a certain extent. But I also feel like you guys are ready for some movement with this situation. So if you have been called to start a new project, to start a new business or something like that, I feel like right now you're kind of some of you guys are dealing with some fear along this. Some of you guys are dealing with like feelings of inadequacy, and there's a message for you to just go for it and not overthink it. But you don't need to like have it all done immediately, if that makes sense. Like, it's okay if things take a little bit longer. It's okay if you do things step by step, and it's okay if you only can do one step today. But start making those moves towards it, because as this card says, the universe rewards motion, and something just fell in my room. So I don't know why. Something just fell down. So I feel like that's confirmation to like go for it, make it happen, and maybe this is something that is going to take you kind of standing firm in your truth, where people around you might not fully get it, might think it's weird or lame or whatever. But I feel like there's a message that they're going to finally see at the end when you get all the success that you want. So let's get some astro dice as well. So we got the 8th house, Saturn, and we got Virgo. So that's so funny, because I said maybe some of you guys are Virgos or Capricorns, and we literally got Saturn and Virgo, aka Capricorn and Virgo. So that's awesome. 8th house also relates to Scorpio and Pluto. So like I was talking about trauma, ancestral trauma, family trauma, this can be about really unpacking this month if anything is coming up for you. Sometimes, especially during eclipse seasons, things can come up where there's, issues from our past, or past heartbreaks or past traumatic experiences. We can start having those kind of emerge from our subconscious. So if that happens to you, I feel like this is all part of the purging, cleansing process. But then again, with Saturn and Virgo coming up, there's a really strong energy that you guys are building foundations, and that it's okay for you to take your time with the foundation. I think you should take action, but don't feel like, okay, so I gotta rush, I gotta do this right away. It's okay if you're like, I'm taking action and I'm doing step 1 today, and I'm building a foundational step, and it's not that glamorous part where we like cross the finish line and we have the crowd cheering for us. It's like that first step, and no one's around, no one gets to see it. We're just by ourselves taking a step, but it's really the most exciting part. If we could really see the whole vision, we would realize that that was the most exciting, impactful part of it, I guess. So don't be afraid to take a start. Don't be afraid to go towards whatever mission or thing this is that Spirit has put in your mind, goal Spirit has put in your mind, because you can accomplish it and you can make it happen with that Ace of Wands. That's such a message of success and potential. But it's like, I think this is just about going through it the right way and using this month as a foundational month to really build the right foundation for whatever this project is so that it can happen in the best way. But I do think you're going to have a lot of success on this. But I think October I think for pile one too. So some of you guys might have felt drawn to that, and you could totally watch it if you did. Maybe this is a month of like getting our head screwed on straight, really figuring it out. And then other months, other times in our lives are times of actually launching that project, actually going for it, actually running full speed ahead. And I don't feel that's necessarily the energy this month. This is about taking action, but like making sure it's guided, inspired action, and making sure that we're, we got everything covered and we're doing things the right way. So yeah, that's what I have for you guys for October. So I really hope it resonated, guys. Let me know how it did in the comments. I'm curious about this pile. I really want to know what this is, what project this is. So let me know, guys. And make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, and make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on. And if you guys would like to see more of my content, you can check out my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. About 35 readings up. I'll have to go recount, but around that number, and new ones go up all the time. So if you like how I read tarot, that's where you can head to see more of it. So like I said, link to my Patreon in my description under the timestamps and in the comments under the timestamps. And if you guys want a private one-on-one reading with me for your specific situation, tarot, for whatever you want to ask about, and I'll channel messages for you from Spirit, then you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and sign up for a one-on-one session. You get to decide what you get channeled wisdom about, or if you just want me to generally channel wisdom, either one works. So you get to decide how it goes. But if you would like that, I have some slots open, I think, this month. So yeah, sign up for that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. So with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I do apologize again for still being sick. Hopefully third time's the charm, and next time I will be fully cured. But anyway, thanks for bearing with me, and I will see you guys in the next reading. Take care. Bye. Hey, pile three. So for your oracle card, you guys got the World, and for your other cards, you got Solitude, Protecting Treasure, One Ring Circus, and Spirit of Place. So for a lot of you guys this month, you might be moving or traveling a lot. I see a lot of you guys really questioning the kind of people you're surrounded by, the kind of situation you might be living in. So if you're in a living situation that stresses you out, maybe there's like a noisy neighbor, or a barking dog nearby, or something like that, you might be making those steps to really make sure that where you live is a place that emotionally and mentally and energetically supports you, so that you're not really stressed when you go home. Or it could be a situation where like you have a workplace where you're really stressed, and you might be making steps to address that and to find a place that really supports you. Like if your coworkers are always sniping at you, and you're always stressed when you come home from work, and you're always in a bad mood when you're leaving for work, that might be a sign that that's something you should pay attention to, that you shouldn't brush it under the rug. You should really think about, okay, let me just admit to myself that I don't like this situation, and now what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? Because I am free. I do have the power of my own destiny. I have the power to stay in this situation or leave it. So if I want to leave it, I can. And for those of you guys who have been wanting to make a move, there might be a window of opportunity opening here in October where you're able to leave, you're able to find a new job, or switch, living situations, whatever the case may be. Because I really feel like, it's funny with this Protecting Treasure card, I feel like that's you guys. I feel like you're protecting yourself, and you can see this lady is hiding underneath an umbrella here, and it's almost like you haven't been as protective of yourself as you should have been. You've been putting yourself through some maybe unnecessarily stressful situations, or just being like, well, I have to accept this. It is what it is. I'm just gonna like turn a blind eye to it. I'm just gonna put on a happy face. And I feel like this month there's kind of this call to some of it, because I just heard some of you guys haven't been listening to your intuition. So I don't know who that's for, but for some of you guys, if you have been brushing this under the rug or trying to kind of run away from the fact that you've been really stressed out, this might be the time for you to, I feel like when that happens, spirit will often isolate you or really make it unavoidable for you to for you to not listen, or for you to listen. So you have to, so no matter what you want to do, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, spirit's like, I'm going to make this message louder and louder until you can't pretend like you didn't hear me. So that's kind of can be a warning, because that can mean that things get worse. If you're like, yeah, I do have a really noisy neighbor, you might have to get ready for them to start making a ton of noise every night, you know, as soon as 10 p.m. rolls around, they're throwing another party. So, or if you've got bad coworkers and you've kind of known they were bad, and they might get more toxic, but that's part of the process of it actually improving. I know it might not seem like that, but it's part of the process of it getting better, because I feel like for you guys, spirit really wants you. Some of you guys in this pile are so sweet and have the most beautiful energy. And I almost want to like come over and give you a hug, because I feel like you have been putting up with so much BS that you shouldn't have had to put up with. You've been putting up with like trash and toxicity and like people who just take advantage of you. And I feel like this month is about you guys stepping out of it. I feel like this month is about you guys reclaiming your own power and realizing your own power. Because some of you guys might have even felt pretty beaten down by this situation, pretty misunderstood. Sometimes that can happen when you have toxic coworkers or a toxic living situation. There are a lot of people that are never even going to understand. And if you try to tell them like, yeah, I have toxic coworkers, or yeah, I live in this horrible situation, there's going to be people that blame you. There's going to be people that just don't get it, or say like, well, that wouldn't bother me. So it's like, well, you're not me. And so for some of you guys, this is about you realizing your authority in the situation, that you have the power to say yes or no. And you have the power to bounce if it's not serving you. You have the power to leave it behind. You have the power to move on. And I feel like you guys are going to really figure that out this month. And it's going to finally really click in your mind of like, oh my gosh, I get to say no, I get to say I've had enough. I don't have to deal with this. I don't have to put up with this. I can choose to exit at any point that I want to. So yeah, I think that's a really exciting thing that's happening in your life right now. But yeah, I think that's kind of the theme, but it might get a little bit worse before it gets better. Sometimes that's what happens, like I said. So let's get into your tarot though. So we got Four of Cups, Six of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, Ace of Pentacles, Six of Cups, and the 10 of Pentacles. So there's so much positivity here. Like I really feel like for some of you guys, you're going to get this golden opportunity, and it might not seem like a golden opportunity at first. Like you might be like, wait a minute, am I being fired from this job? I'm not saying you guys are going to be fired. I'm just using that as an example. Like, or wait a minute, suddenly I have to move out, or whatever the case may be. And it might feel like it comes out of the blue. Like I said, I feel like spirit's kind of like, this situation has been going on for a while, so it might be time to escalate things. Like usually spirit wants us to like take care of it. And if not, spirit's like, okay, let me ratchet this up by 10. And I know it's annoying when that happens, but I do feel like this is a gift. I feel like with the Four of Cups leading off the reading, like this is a blessing. This is a good thing. And it would make you a lot happier. Some of you guys are putting up with situations that really drain your energy and don't make you happy and make you miserable just because you're like, well, I have to deal with it, or like that's just how it is. And you know, yeah, I don't have a choice. And it's like, of course you have a choice. You have so much power, you have so much control, and also luck is on your side with this Wheel of Fortune. So when you get the Wheel of Fortune, that means that, you know, Jupiter is going to be working for you. You are going to have that energy of happy accidents and luck and beautiful surprises that come out of nowhere, blessings coming down from the sky. So even though it might not, sometimes the biggest blessings have not seemed that way. When I look back at some of the biggest blessings that have happened to me, again, I've mentioned before, but they were accidents. They were like being in the wrong place at the right time, or vice versa, you know, and
random stuff that you're like, well, this is kind of annoying, and then it turns into a blessing. So don't be afraid if there is like an exit moment for some of you guys coming up, because I feel like this is a moment about you guys really returning to what makes you happy. With the Six of Cups coming out, like it might even be, I think one of the best ways to figure out what's for you and what's not for you is what just brings you that kind of childlike Six of Cups joy, that childlike energy of like, I'm in my bliss. Sometimes we can, as adults, like we feel like we have to rationalize everything and make it into this logical, perfect little box of like, and this makes sense. And then I did the math on that and I added up this so that like other people accept it. And kids don't do that. Kids just go with like, I love this. I love ice cream. Like if you've ever heard, like been trapped next to a kid at like a party or a wedding or something, and they want to tell you all about their favorite dinosaur. And you're like, I do not care. At least I don't care about dinosaurs at all. I don't know anything about them. I'm not interested. And so anyway, you have those conversations, but this child, they don't care that you're not interested. They don't care that maybe it's not the most thrilling dinner party conversation. They love dinosaurs. And that's all they're going to talk about. And they don't need anyone else to agree. They don't need anyone else to sign off on it. They love dinosaurs and they want to tell you all about the Triceratops or whatever it is, Stegosaurus. I literally don't know any of them. But my point is some of us need to get back into that energy of like, I love this and I don't care what you think. And I don't care if it makes sense to you, makes sense to you. And literally, like, I think that love of dinosaurs or whatever the case may be, for me as a girl, I just loved like dolls and that kind of a thing. So whatever it was for you, you're never, when you're a kid, you don't try to defend it. You don't come to your parent and ask for like a Barbie for Christmas and give them like a list, 10 items long of like, please, can I have this because this? You're just like, I want a Barbie, and that's it. And I feel like sometimes, like I said, we overly intellectualize everything. We have to have like a million different reasons why. I feel like you guys are being returned back into a place of like, I just want it. I just love it. That just makes me feel happy. So I think that you should really pay attention to the things that come up for you during this time. The visions, the knowledge, the downloads you get about what is bringing you fulfillment, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel happy, and then moving in towards that. Because there is a lot of potential for wealth and success. We got the Ace of Pentacles and we got the Ten of Pentacles. So the downloads you're going to get this month, I feel like can point you in the right direction towards financial abundance and financial success, and really make you, whatever kind of financial or success dreams you might have had, there is a pathway to that through this month, and maybe through leaving something behind, maybe through exploring the world a little bit more too, because the world is also about like putting yourself out there. And there's a strong Sagittarius travel energy in this pile anyway, but Sagittarius is all about putting yourself out there, exploring, trying something new, trying food from a different culture that you've never been to before, or going to a new place, literally physically traveling there. And I think what's special about travel is it's almost like all our senses are heightened in that moment, because even most of the time when you're traveling, you're never fully like relaxed in the same way you are in your hometown, right? You're always kind of a little on edge because maybe you're afraid of being like pickpocketed, or maybe you're just like, I don't know any of the locations in this town, I don't want to get lost. Or maybe you're like, I've never had this food before. So you're going to like pay extra attention to the spices and to the flavors and to, kind of piecing it together in the way that when you're ordering mac and cheese and you've had it a million times and they're not going to suddenly throw in some crazy flavor to that, it doesn't really hit the same, So I think that the benefit we get from travel or from any of those things, it's not that you have to actually travel. It's about you have to open your eyes up to like the feeling and really living in the moment. And Sagittarius is also a fire sign, and fire signs are all about that. They're all about living in the moment and being kind of sensual and feeling things. emotionally and even physically. And so I feel like for you guys, you don't have to travel if you don't want to. You don't have to move to somewhere new, but you could if you want to. But I feel like this is all about you guys dipping your toe into that river of life and feeling the adventure and feeling everything. Let me get some oracle cards. So we got, you can radically change your results by shifting your beliefs. To receive, you must release, and don't run from the darkness. Embrace your shadow side. So I feel like it's almost like some of you guys have been forced into this position of being too nice, or you're afraid to be mean, you're afraid to tell someone off, and there's an energy here of you guys needing to assert yourself, you guys being more than justified in standing up for yourself and calling out some of these people. Or you might not feel the need to actually physically, like verbally call them out to their faces, but maybe you're calling them out by removing your energy from the situation, and they have time to reflect on it, and they're like, you know what, I didn't really act right. Or maybe they'll never have that revelation, but your energy is no longer there serving them and no longer being their doormat, so to speak. So I feel like for a lot of you guys, this is about, like I said, taking your power back and making yourself into the main character. You guys are not a side character. You're not the B-list, extra that just is in the background. You are the main character in your life. And if something is not serving you, if someone isn't serving you, and this, maybe some of you guys have been guilt tripped by people like, well, you're the number one person at this company and we need you. Okay, then pay me more. I mean, hello, duh. I mean, that's how it is. Or maybe there's not even an amount of money they could give you that would make you happy with the company. But the thing is, sometimes people who are really nice, empathic, sweet, they get guilted into doing things that serve others rather than advocating for their own best interests. And I do see you guys this month really kind of getting fed up. And then I feel like this magical window opens where you're like, I'm fully ready to leave this behind. And it might have been a long time coming. So your guides are like, oh my God, finally. But I feel like they're really happy to switch you into this growth process of you realizing your own power and stepping into it. This is kind of about you guys receiving and acknowledging that you do deserve to receive, that you guys do deserve to have blessings come into your life, that you do deserve to have all your wildest dreams come true, and that you deserve to have a happy life. Sometimes it takes a while to make a dream come true, right? Like there's just timelines at play. But I feel like for you guys, like we can know we're on the right path when mostly our life is filled with joy, when mostly we're not super stressed out on 10 all the time. Like that's a good indicator. Of course, there's periods in your life when you might go through stress for a variety of reasons. But when we are building a life that mostly is filled with joy, that mostly is happy, that mostly brings us fulfillment and makes us feel in awe of the beautiful world we're surrounded by, that's a really good sign that we're on the right track. So if you're not doing that right now, or you're not feeling that way, then I feel like that's a big sign that you're not on the right track. And don't run from the darkness. I feel like with that, it's kind of like darkness is like that. Like I keep seeing Sagittarius and we have a lot of that energy. It's just that fiery thing of life. Like sometimes we can even be a little puritanical, like feeling like, oh, I can't eat that food. It's too spicy. Or I don't want to, I don't know, like go out and stay up late because I can't, because I have to be up early. Or I don't want to date that person because I don't want to get caught up in it. And it's like you're missing out on that fire, that spark of life. Sometimes that involves getting your heart broken or staying up too late and coming into work with a little bit of a hangover, or, and obviously drink responsibly or whatever. I'm not saying go crazy, but, having that spicy food, experiencing the fullness and the intensity of life and how good life can be. And I'm not saying be reckless with your life and do like something crazy that's harmful to yourself. I don't view that as pleasurable or like a good thing. Things that are, any harmful to you, that doesn't feel good to me. So I wouldn't even mark that in like the having fun, awesome category. But I'm saying that when you're doing something that really is making you feel amazing, and maybe it doesn't like benefit you long term, maybe it's not the best thing to do for your productive work life, but isn't that still worthwhile in itself? Like sometimes we can get into such a kind of almost like monk-like attitude where okay, I'm working on this goal, or I'm doing this and I'm just going to live really like non-indulgently all the time. And I feel like there needs to be a balance for you guys where you're being kind of encouraged of like, don't be afraid to let yourself indulge a little bit. This might even have to do with food for some of you guys. You might be really restrictive with your diet. You might be someone that like would never allow yourself to have an ice cream. And in that case, I think you should go march over and grab an ice cream, seriously, and not treat it like some crazy thing. Like it's funny because in places where they have like gelato shops on every corner or patisseries on every corner, those places have a lot slimmer people than in the places where there's, obviously I'm talking about America, but you know, in America, in the US where I'm from, we have all these ads for diet things and everyone's always like obsessed with eating healthy or obsessed with thinness, I feel like, in the media. And then you go to other places and people don't care that much, and people don't feel the need to be like posting every day from like the Pilates studio, and they might indulge in some chocolate or whatever. And that's considered normal, and those countries are way slimmer. So it's almost like once we just give in and have a little bit of openness to like something that's a little indulgent, something that maybe isn't this perfect, morally like clean thing to do, but it's not bad. It's just like we make it bad when we put this weird obsession on like food that's healthy and unhealthy. You know, of course, I stay away from like glyphosate, which is like the pesticide they put on non-organic food. And I do believe there's a lot of food in the US that's like really, they do weird stuff to it. So I'm not saying people should go outside and start eating all this glyphosate food or completely trash food. But if you can make like get a healthy version of it, you know, like make it yourself, make some organic ice cream or something. But there's no reason why you should be like, I can't ever eat sugar, or I can't ever eat this, or I can't ever eat that. And maybe once in a while, if you really are craving something, and yeah, maybe it's not organic or whatever, and you enjoy it and you savor it, you know, I feel like there's just a message here for you guys of truly enjoying your life and giving yourself that permission, and not making something so off limits that it becomes this like forbidden fruit. So whatever that might be for you, it doesn't have to be food. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. Just, you know, it's just like a life mentality. Let me get some astro dice for pile 4. So we got the 7th house, and then we got Saturn, and we got Scorpio. So that's an interesting combination. So technically, that is weird because we got Venus in Scorpio before, and now we got 7th house, which is ruled by Venus in Scorpio. So I don't know, but to me, I feel like what's coming to my mind with all these placements is Venus in Scorpio, or Venus 7th house, is kind of an energy, or Scorpio 7th house is kind of an energy of either they like it or they don't like it. That's actually why it's kind of not necessarily the best placement for Venus, is because it can be like obsessive. Like when a Scorpio Venus likes someone, they can like them to the point of, you know, it being truly an obsession, or they're completely not interested. So it's almost like they hardly ever like anyone, and then when they do like someone, they're all the way in. And so I feel like while that can be bad, it's almost like, and yeah, it can be bad, because that's the thing, is sometimes when we make things off limits, which Scorpio tends to do with being Pluto and everything, that's when it can turn into an obsession. When we just kind of let a little bit in, when we're open, when we allow it to flow, which is why probably Pisces is the exaltation of Venus, is because it's all about flow and openness. That's kind of Pisces energy. That's when we allow things to happen and to flow in really beautifully. Instead of obsessing over a certain thing, making it off limits, making it into some weird thing, putting a bunch of weird emotions onto something, we can just allow ourselves to indulge in it with no guilt, with just a beautiful openness to it, and let it flow out, and trust it to flow back in, and all of that. That's when we can really appreciate it in the highest form. And that's when we can truly enjoy something for the sake of it, and not be caught up in an energy of scarcity, or like, oh my God, it'll never come back, or I need to appreciate this in this moment, I'm never going to have this again. So sometimes I feel like when we have too much discipline, Saturn here, that can lead to this weird off-kilter vibe where we, like I said, obsess, or we make something so off limits. We put so much weird like discipline on ourselves, and we turn something into a battle of like wills where it should just be an easy indulgence. So I really feel like you guys are just being called to like give yourself this permission, let things go a little bit. Um, you don't have to be harsh on yourself. You don't have to be perfect. You are allowed to grow and change, and that's what Saturn does. But again, I also feel like life should be easy. And so if you guys have been in a Saturnian vibe of just thinking you have to be 100% disciplined all the time, I feel like this October is coming in to like kick you in the pants a little bit and be like, stop, like you can open up. And another thing that I actually really like about Venus and Scorpio is that they know what they want. You know, they know what they like and they know what they don't like. And that's a really big key for figuring out for you what your destiny is. To that can kind of be your compass. Like when like a Scorpio, because they are so psychic, Scorpio Venuses, all Scorpio placements is why I like dealing with Scorpios, is like if they like you, they really like you. They're not the type to kind of lie to themselves and tap out of their intuition and be like, well, maybe I like this person because of this. Maybe it was that. Well, I don't know. Maybe that. Well, then I think this. They are, I think, really, even more so than Pisces or Cancer, they really trust their intuition. Most Scorpios I know, you could even try to tell them or argue with them about, like, if they get a bad vibe with someone, you could convince a Pisces. You could be like, well, they were trying to be nice, and you could guilt trip a Pisces into being like, it's fine. But a Scorpio, you can't. Scorpios know exactly how they feel towards someone, and they 100% go with their intuition, and they trust the vibes, they trust the feeling. And so for some of you guys, you haven't been listening to your intuition, you haven't been trusting yourself to, like, you haven't been trusting your own judgment. You keep thinking that you're misunderstanding a situation, or that maybe I was too harsh, maybe my boss really meant this when they said that, maybe my friend blah blah. No, just listen to your first intuition. Listen to your gut and that first feeling you get, because your gut knows what's good for you. Your interior, voice of authority knows what is the best thing for you, knows what's going to make you fulfilled and happy, and knows what isn't. So if you're dreading going into work every single day, you dread it and it's giving you anxiety and you can't stand it, that's a huge sign. That shows that you're way past the point of intuition, to the point where your guides have intervened and given you physical symptoms if you're feeling like physical anxiety and stuff. So if anything, you should have stopped that situation way earlier, and you have the chance to stop it now. So yeah, let me get some of these beautiful cards from Bow Life, Vanessa Sumayina's company. I love these cards. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's check what that one is. Jar of Dreams. Because that one kind of weirdly flew out. The images on these cards are so pretty. But let's see if we have a card. Okay, Manifesting Magic. So maybe some of you guys are doing some manifesting rituals this month, thinking about your dreams. Yeah, I feel like some of you guys, you just need to disconnect from your current situations. And it's almost like you can't really manifest right now because you're stressed, or you're thinking about just staying in the situation. And it's almost like there's a message from spirit of like, why won't you just accept more? And I love this, actually, no strings attached, because I feel like you need to know you don't have a string tied to you. Like sometimes people will say stuff, like I said, like when I do a private reading, someone will be like, I'll be like, if that job is really toxic for you and it's not really, and they'll be like, yeah, but if I leave, my boss doesn't have anyone else to work for them, or my boss needs me and relies on me. And I'm like, oh, what are they paying? Are they paying you more? And they're like, oh, they would never give me a raise. Okay, well, like, why are you sacrificing yourself for someone who doesn't respect you to the same level, who doesn't really care about you? I mean, it doesn't, you got to think about that. And you got to think about why you feel loyalty to someone who's not really loyal to you. And you've got to realize that you have the power to leave the situation anytime. You're not tied to them. You may feel tied. You may feel stuck. You may feel like, oh, I'm always linked to this person. I have to do things right. You don't. You have so much power in this world that you don't even realize. You have the power to shape your destiny, but we can only really get in touch with manifesting our destiny and finding our dreams once we start being willing to release the old. Once we start clearing out the old and decluttering, just like if you wanted to buy new furniture for your place, you'd have to clear out the old stuff too. You can't just put a new couch on top of an old couch and stack your coffee table on top of each other and, lay one bookshelf sideways and put the other on top. Like, you've got to clear it first. There's not enough room for it all. So once we clear out the old, that's when the new can come in. And for, those of you guys in this reading, that can be different things. I'm not saying like you have to go quit your job right now. Of course, I understand that bills have to be paid and people, sometimes it takes time to extricate. Sometimes it takes time, but that's why I see a window opening for you guys and an opportunity being offered to you. So you should keep your eye out for whatever that may be. You might get an opportunity or an offer of a new stream of income. You might get an opportunity or an offer of something that could really financially free you or give you the kind of financial abundance you really wanted this month. So you really need to be very aware and conscious of everything that's happening in your life, because I feel like Spirit does want to reward you and give you some beautiful blessings, but you've also got to be paying attention and not just watching it sail by and missing it. So yeah, I think this is a beautiful month for you guys, but this is about stepping into the destiny of realizing everything you guys have and everything you're worth. So anyway, I really hope that resonated. Pile 3, let me know if it did in the comments. I love hearing from you guys, and make sure to like this video and subscribe if it resonated with you. And if you guys want to see my additional readings, you can head on over to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. I think I have about 35 up, but I have to go count again. But new ones go up all the time, and there's all kinds of topics. 35 different topics over there. So go ahead and check it out. Link in the description underneath my timestamps and in the comments as well. And if you guys want a private one-on-one session with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and I will pull cards specifically for your situation so we can ask questions about a specific thing in your life or just channel general messages from your guides, ancestors, spirit team on the other side. However you want the reading to go, we can steer it in that direction. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I am sending you so much love and light. And I do apologize if my voice was totally sick sounding, but hopefully we'll be back to full health soon. So thanks again, guys, and I will see you very soon. Bye.
Hey, pile 4. So for your oracle card, you guys got Man Holding a Heart, and for your other cards, you got Goblins, Field of Dreams, and Sacred Pool. So there is an opportunity for love for some of you guys this month. This could be a new crush, or it could be an ex contacting you. I almost feel like this person might have been playfully kind of standoffish at one point, or have the kind of relationship where you guys kind of bicker as a flirtatious, or not necessarily bicker, but where this person might playfully insult you or something, and then you come back and insult them, but it's kind of flirting, that kind of a vibe. But I actually feel like they might be a lot more honest this month with you about their emotions and really present their feelings to you honestly. So for those of you guys who are wanting a romantic interlude, you are going to get it this month, and there's a lot of that energy going around. I feel like you guys look really beautiful this month. You're looking good, you're feeling good, and so there's a lot of those opportunities for love. I also think you guys are going to be doing some shadow work this month. We did get Goblins, so that can be a card about dealing with kind of traumas that we bring onto ourselves, or not bring onto ourselves, that come onto ourselves and that we kind of accumulate as we go through life. We can take on these negative thought processes, negative feelings, and I do feel like some of those are going to be coming up this month. For a lot of you guys, it might be feelings of lack of worthiness, feeling like you're not good enough, feeling like maybe you're not attractive enough or pretty enough. So pay attention. These might come out at the same time as this romantic relationship. It might be that this romantic relationship presents itself and you find yourself doubting that you're good enough, or feeling like, why would this person be into me, or questioning if they really care about you, So a lot of those might stem from a lack of self-worth you picked up at some point in your past. And I think you should be very conscious of whenever those feelings do come up, because some of you guys in this pile, I am getting the feeling that you do have almost like self-esteem issues really deep down, and you might kind of dive in and pull those out and see what they are and see where they came about, where you started feeling like you're not good enough, or where you started feeling like, other people have things and I don't, or whatever the case may be, because I feel like a lot of these things can really be worked through and you can emerge feeling the best version of yourself. And sacred pool can be, that time when you really get to do the self work, the inner work, and have kind of this sacred space. And sometimes those come in the times when we're not feeling like what's happening is sacred. We're feeling like what's happening is really stressful and really unpleasant and it's difficult to deal with. But actually, it's a really positive process, because I feel like Spirit wants you to know that all of your dreams are an option and a possibility. So some of you guys, this can be a very fertile month for you to plant these seeds of things you want to manifest in the future. So if you guys have been thinking about, having something in the back of your mind wriggling away, maybe some kind of idea for a project or a business, I do feel like this month could be a really great opportunity and a time for you to start working on those things and to start moving towards that. Let's get into some of the tarot as well. So we got the Moon, Knight of Wands, we got the Ten of Wands, Four of Pentacles, Two of Swords, and the Two of Wands. So some of you guys are really going to be making a big decision this month. And the message I'm hearing in my mind is to go big or go home, go bold, something like that. Going bold, being brave about it. Don't be afraid to move towards whatever this may be. Don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone. Maybe this is where the Goblins card comes in as well. Maybe you have had feelings like, oh, I couldn't do that, or like, yeah, they can do that, but not me. I'm not good enough. And it's really important whenever one of those feelings comes up where you feel like I couldn't do that, to just ask yourself, why? Why can that person do it but not me? Like we're both humans, right? And I'm capable and I'm smart and I'm all those things. So why can't I do it as well? If one person can make it happen, you can make it happen too. Sometimes those feelings can come up in the form of jealousy or envy. We might really actually kind of admire someone, but we don't really want to admit it, so it comes out in the form of envy. Or because those feelings emerge in us as, I can't do that, I'll never have that, we end up envying them, rather than realizing that that's actually a positive sign. When we see something that someone has and we want it, we can take that as a signpost directing us of like, that would be something cool for you, that would make you happy, so maybe I can try to get it myself. So not allowing our brain to go into this negative state of like, screw this person, it's unfair, I can't believe they have that, but instead like, wow, I must really like that and good for them for doing it, and how can I make that happen myself? How could I get some kind of something similar to them, because kudos to them for doing it, and maybe I can do something on my own that's my own version of whatever they're up to, or whatever it is that I'm kind of feeling jealous of. So doing the mental work to unpack that, because I feel like some of you guys this month, you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed as we enter into October. A lot of you guys might have been struggling with a lot of work, or you've already accomplished stuff and Spirit is like, okay, but you're still not happy. And it's, that's the nature of life. Whenever we get these new desires, there's never like this state of just everything's perfect and oh my God, I completed everything and everything's done forever. We're always going to have new desires, new wants, new things that come up in our mind. And again, it's not a bad thing. So just kind of paying attention though to like what that is and why you feel that way and what you're excited about and what you're not so excited about. Paying attention to all of that can help us on our path. And if we accomplish one thing and tick it off, and then spirit brings something else to our mind of like, well, that's kind of cool, then being open to that. So I feel like for some of you guys, if you already have accomplished something, but you're still not feeling fully satisfied, you might be taken to make a new decision. It could be an actual physical move and like relocating or moving jobs or something like that. But there is going to be a decision that comes up. I definitely feel like it might be a job related to your work somehow. So it could even be within your job, like you having to choose between two projects or you having to choose between two, pass with your major at school or something like that. But I feel like you guys already should feel intuitively called to which path you want to take. We did get the moon, so I feel like you guys are going to be very psychic this month. So when it comes to making this decision, whatever it is, I feel like you should really tap into that inner knowledge, that inner knowing, your intuitive side. We got sacred pool and the moon, so it's like you already know the answer. You already know what's going to make you happy. Some of you guys have gotten into a negative mindset because that's what happens when we run away from our intuition. I was just reading a quote from this in a book. Maybe I'll post on my Instagram or something, I don't know, but there was a quote about like how we cause anxiety in ourselves, and this wasn't like a spiritual book or anything. It was like a novel, an old novel from like the 1800s or whatever. But the person, I was like, this is so accurate, because they said you cause anxiety in ourselves when we ignore the truth and we pretend like we don't hear our intuition. And again, so odd that that came out in like this novel that is not spiritual. Like it's not like it was a spiritual book or anything. But that's so true. Like even people knew that, I guess, back in the 1800s, the novelists did at least. So my point is that sometimes we already know the answer, but we don't want to admit it. We don't want to really confront it. We want to pretend like everything's fine. And then that just adds to our anxiety and stress. And sometimes we could even distract ourselves by doing things like going out, partying, having fun. But I feel like there's a beautiful opportunity for you guys to just face whatever this is head on, confront it. I feel like a lot of you guys are building something for yourself. Like I feel like you are building something very financially prosperous, and that activity will continue on in this month. But I also feel like it's important for you to kind of take a step back, and if something's not working within that, if something's causing you anxiety, stress, or pain, then maybe there's a way for you to extricate that. I'm seeing someone pulling like a Jenga piece out of a Jenga pile. And those Jenga piles, they don't fall usually until like the very end, unless someone's super clumsy. So it's amazing how many pieces you can take out of a Jenga pile and it's still standing. So if you're worried or nervous about like, yeah, but if I say no to this project, like my boss is gonna hate me and I'll get fired, probably not. I feel like there's a lot of leeway for you guys to be able to switch around whatever is causing you stress, like change your schedule, do something to mitigate whatever this is. And I feel like that's what you guys are going to be called to do in this upcoming month. But I feel like whatever you're working on, there's also a message just kind of like of resilience and sticking it out, that whatever you guys are trying to work towards, it is going to pay off in the end. There is a lot of potential for success and abundance at the end of this. So I'm being told to shuffle these cards next. So I'm going to do these. These are the Bow Life cards from Vanessa Sumaina. So they are absolutely beautiful. So we got sacrifices, and then we got healthy boundaries. I could definitely see that being an energy that you guys need to have, with some more boundaries for certain things. This one says trust your intuition. Yep, because that's what I'm telling you guys, is you already know. You already know what you're supposed to do with this. Oh, that kind of came out too many. Let's shuffle one more. And we got perfect moments. And this one says in touch with your body. So it's funny because what's coming to my mind for that is actually that a lot of times we feel certain things in our actual physical body. Like when we feel anxious going into work every day and we get anxiety or we get a headache or we have a migraine or whatever the case may be, we a lot of times actually feel that within our physical body. They talk about that a lot in human design and wherever your point of authority is in your body. But for a lot of us, it's kind of like spirit will give us those intuitions at first. When we don't listen, spirit will escalate it and start giving us actual physical symptoms. But a lot of times the physical symptoms come way after we've already been feeling that intuition. And if we just listened the first time, those wouldn't have happened. So for some of you guys, if you have been having like a health issue or something like that, there could be kind of a message that like pay attention, because wherever those health issues happen, that can sometimes also be an indicator, you know, like it could be that you're always getting a sore throat and you feel like you can't really speak up for yourself, or you feel like you can't be honest to a boss, or maybe you know, have some shortness of breath and it's a lot of anxiety because you're nervous about a certain situation because deep down you know it's not really a solid foundation for yourself. Or you're having back problems and you've been carrying all this weight on you at work, so to speak, you know, maybe literally or maybe figuratively. But there's something to really unpack whenever we have a health issue. Sometimes that's spirit's way of getting our attention and really bringing our attention to it, because we wouldn't pay attention otherwise. We wouldn't notice if we just were able to keep going as it was. So I feel like a lot of you guys know how to put up these boundaries. You know what needs to change in your life, and you know what's going to get you to this beautiful destination of success and abundance that I feel like is where you guys want to head and where you will head. So this month, there is, like I said, an opportunity for a flirtation, for some love, for some romance coming in. So if you guys are into that, I don't want to make it all negative. If you guys are wanting that kind of romance, I do feel like that opportunity will present itself, and this person will come in being very flirty, very a lot of fun. Like I feel like they're gonna just turn on the charm. You know what I mean? They're not gonna kind of be they're I mean, like I said, they might a little have that fiery insulting you thing, like in a flirty way, but they're not going to conceal their intentions too much. Like I don't feel like they're going to come in kind of pretending that they don't care or anything like that. Like you're going to know how they feel. You know, they're really going to make themselves clear. But I also feel like a lot of you guys have a lot on your mind. You have a lot of goals. You have something that you're working towards. And there is a message that, you know, you will be able to accomplish those things. And so you just got to kind of stay on track, because I feel like you guys are headed to really do something amazing. Let's get more cards. So we got it's all in divine order. Allow. Midas touch, things are working out in your favor. Deep inward journey, you'll be rewarded for the work, and you heal by releasing, not suppressing. So again, there's this message, like I was saying, that things that are happening to you are happening for you, not to you. So things that are going on in your life are working out for your greatest and highest good, working out in your favor. So if you knew everything was going to work out for you, you wouldn't stress, you wouldn't freak out about these small little things. So there's a fine line and a balance between kind of acknowledging that something isn't working for you, something's causing you stress and pain, and also keeping a positive attitude about it. So I think sometimes when we talk about manifesting, or when we talk about, you know, your mindset makes your reality, sometimes people can take that and kind of misinterpret it to mean, okay, so I'm just going to put a smile on my face and pretend everything's fine, even though this situation is not fine. And I'm constantly stressed about it. And I hate this situation, but I'm just going to smile through it and pretend it's fine. And that's not what Spirit wants from us. But Spirit does want us to keep a positive mindset despite that. So I'm done with this situation. This job is stressing me out. I'm going to send my resume out and apply to different companies. And I'm going to understand that whatever roadblocks might come up for me in that process is working out for my greatest and highest good. So it's allowing yourself to see the situation in truth and in reality, and see it as it is, but also understanding that then you have to consciously kind of control your thoughts to see the best positive outcome and making that kind of your path. Just like you set your intention on Google Maps or on your Apple Maps or whatever you use before you set off on your journey. If you're like me and you're totally dependent on maps, some people might not have to, but I have to. You set your intention out, before you leave. You're always going to put that in. And that's kind of how we can program our mind is let me set my intention for the best thing. Let me not pay attention to all the things that are going badly other than, oh, that's an indication I should get out of this situation. But just I'm going to constantly reshift my focus onto like the positive, onto the good things. Because I feel like you guys are working towards something that like long term is really going to pay off for you and be amazing. And even though this may be a difficult month, it is unfolding in the way it should. So don't kind of get hung up on the small stuff, but pay attention to the small stuff enough to extricate yourself when the situation isn't working for you. So I hope that makes sense. Let me spin some astro dice for pile 4 for the month of October. So we got Pisces, we got the moon, and we got the 11th house. Wow. So that's Pisces, Cancer, and Aquarius. And we got 2 water signs. So like I said, this is a very, very psychic time for you guys in your life. There's a very psychic energy surrounding you guys at this moment in your life. You are very intuitive at this moment. You are processing things very accurately. And I feel like some of you guys, you're just not paying attention to whatever that is. You're not fully like tuned in and tapped in to what's going on around you, or you might get the notifications but you kind of ignore them. You get the feeling, the indication, but then you block it out. You get that feeling of like this person's kind of shady, but then you ignore it. Or that would be kind of cool, maybe I should try that, but you ignore it. And I feel like that's fine, I guess, but it just makes your life so much easier and flow so much better when you actually pay attention to the intuition. And I always think when you have an intuitive ability, your spirit guides are like way less patient with you like not listening. I feel like they probably give leeway to people who might not be as like super intuitive, but when you're super intuitive, I feel like your guides are like, girl, please stop lying. We know you got the message. It's kind of like when your friend is really bad at returning texts and like, because you text her and she's like reading your text. You just know how she is. And maybe it's something like time sensitive. So you're like, just respond to me. Like, this is not the time when you can take 2 weeks to respond. But when it's someone else who you're like, oh, they usually are pretty timely, so they're probably didn't get this, then you're not as bothered. But it's that friend that you have where you're like, I know you're getting this, I know you perceive it, that you start getting like frustrated, I guess. And I feel like that's like our spirit guides with us. So you guys who are very intuitive at this time, you really can't pretend like you're not hearing it. Then we have the 11th house of friendships and other people. So I do feel like a lot of these issues have to do with other people. So yeah, it might be like situations at work, dealing with coworkers or difficult boss, difficult family members. I feel like a lot of this has to do with putting up some boundaries and just kind of, standing up for yourself in that way. Standing up for yourself in the sense of like, I'm not going to necessarily tolerate being around someone who just doesn't really respect me or doesn't treat me with listen to my boundaries or doesn't make me feel great. Of course, sometimes in relationships, there's always going to be difficulties, but if someone's habitually kind of pushing your boundaries and not treating you well, that's definitely a red flag to pay attention to. So I feel like a lot of you guys have probably already been dealing with this, and this is your opportunity in the month of October to really resolve these issues and to really take care of them and kind of release them and let them go. But yeah, I think that is what I have for you guys in the month of October, pile 4. I really hope it resonated. Let me know how it did in the comments. I love hearing from you guys, so let me know. Also, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you can find out as soon as I post. And if you want to see more of my readings, then head to my Patreon where you'll get access to about 35. I haven't counted, but I think it's around that. Readings, and you'll get access to all of them when you sign up over all different kinds of topics: love, career, basically everything. I mean, 35 topics, so there's a lot to cover. And if you guys want a private one-on-one reading with me, then you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, to sign up for a one-on-one session with me for an hour or a half hour. We can pull cards for any specific question you have, or we can get channeled guidance and messages from your team on the other side. However you want it to go is how we can make the session go. But that's at my description. So both those links are in my description, my Patreon and my website. So yeah, head there if you guys would like to check those things out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm sending you guys lots of love and light, and I'll be back very soon for another reading. So take care. Bye.